Agency etiquette. The number one thing when you have an agency is booking out. You need to book out if you are going to be busy for more than 3 hours. Going to a dentist, going to a concert, you want to sleep all day because you don't feel good, book out. How? Through email. Your agents are busy. They've got lots of models and lots of clients and lots of different numbers in their head. You want to make sure you make it clear for them and put it in writing so it actually ends up in your chart. You want to add the day of the week, the date, the time, and potentially the reasons, because sometimes that can be helpful if you're going to be like on a plane. They know that you're not even going to be reachable because you're going to be in the sky. And so that can be helpful to include details like that sometimes, but you don't have to if you're not comfortable doing that. In general, when you are communicating with your agents, you want everything to go in email. Again, they're super busy. Having things in writing means there is no argument over what was said. It's right there, literally in black and white. This goes for bookouts, questions, photo updates. If you did your own photos or maybe with another agency, you want to WeTransfer those most of the time, or if they have a preferred method of delivery. And if you have any requests about having a meeting, or if you want to come in and pick up a check or get an advance, save the phone for emergencies and scheduled calls. When you are going in person visiting, you want to give advance notice. Ask what day of the week and time is best to come in and what you need when you come in so that they know how long that meeting will take and what things they may need to prepare for that meeting. Because they're very busy, they're doing lots of things, they're working all day, every day, even if you think they're not, they're working. So you want to make sure to be respectful of their time and also yours. You don't want to show up and they're too busy to talk to you because they got 200 emails right now. And sometimes they can tell you what time of day is really a little bit of a lull for them so they can have those meetings and give you their full attention. You want to be respectful, keep your voice low when you're talking to your agent or other agents. They are working all the time. They may be just a few feet away from you. They're on the phone, they're doing emails. You don't want to be shouting at the top of your lungs. Of course, there are exceptions where everybody's chit-chatting. It is a case-by-case basis, as everything is in the modeling industry. And go ahead and leave your guest at home. And pets can either wait in the car or at home. Don't leave pets in the car and make it hot, though. But as always, everything is a case-by-case basis. Now, some agencies are super small. They don't have room for you to be bringing in a bunch of friends and pets, or they have allergies or whatever. They just have a preference and they don't want all your friends and family. Some agents are so chill and they're like, please bring in your pets. I want to pet your puppy, or bring in your friend. I want to meet your partners. I want to meet your family. So that's going to be a case-by-case basis. How to prepare to go to the agency. You want to prepare like you would for a casting. That is typically little to no hair and makeup and clothes that fit you and are in your color palette. Clients may be at the agency. The agent may send you to a last minute casting after you have stopped by. And you want to go ahead and bring your book for those reasons. I would say bring your cards, but there should be cards at the agency, and you may even be going to the agency to get those cards. So I didn't add that here, but of course, you always need your cards. Now, how do you talk to your agents and tell them what you want? You want to be clear. You want to do research beforehand so you know what you're talking about. They tend to have only a small amount of time to talk, maybe 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. So you want to make sure you already know what you want to talk about. You want to be open to their input. A lot of them have a lot of experience in the industry and may have some really great insights to help you to figure out what you want in your career. You want to write notes before the meeting and bring those not only to reference, but to be able to add more notes too. You can ask things like, what can I do to improve my book? What do you feel is missing from my book, pose-wise or genre-wise? Where do you see my career going? And I would like to be submitted to Dream Client, please. Now, they may or may not submit you to that client, but you can ask. Can you have multiple agencies? Yes, you can, but there are rules to it. So when you have multiple agencies, you always want to communicate before you add any more to your team. The current agency or agencies you are signed with may have connections with other agencies and be able to get you a meeting that comes with a little bit more priority because it is from a trusted source. The majority of agencies do say that you can only have one agency per division per market. Divisions are things like print, runway, commercial, and parts. Markets are things like LA, New York, San Francisco, but it could also be tri state, which is 3 states, or it could be a whole country like Hong Kong or South Korea. This is going to depend on each individual agency. I know some agencies in LA have also allowed you to have an agency in San Diego. Some think that that is still too close and do not allow it. Some may allow you to have an agency for print and a different one for your parts in case you maybe do a lot of hand modeling. So it's always going to be a case by case basis, but just make sure you communicate because the agency you already signed with can probably help you to find those new agencies to add to your team. Do you have to buy buy your agents gifts? You do not have to. But in my experience, the agents I buy gifts for, I worked more for. The agents I did not buy gifts for, I didn't work as much. Now, typically, you want to give cash or gift cards. If you know them really well, you could give more personalized things like scarves or sweaters or maybe even candles. But you don't know who has allergies and you don't know if they're on a diet, if you bring in some type of food or something. So, cash and gift cards are always the easiest, safest choices. In my experience, models who gift more work more. I do think it's wrong that you have to give your agents gifts in order for them to do the job that they should already be doing, especially considering none of them are going to be buying you gifts most of the time. So I think it's a little one sided and weird, but in my experience, when I give more gifts, I work more. Most agents do expect gifts for Christmas and big bookings at the very least. They may not say it, but they do expect it, the majority of them. And some agencies even send out emails telling you what type of Christmas gifts they would like, including some that have said they would like you to give them an entire day rate. Like if you make $1,000 a day, they expect you, even though you're not working 365 days a year, to pay each agent $1,000. There was an agency that once sent out that email, and I'm pretty sure a lot of girls paid so that way they could keep working. But again, this is going to be a case by case basis. Leaving your rep. So, how do you end up leaving your representation? You may get dropped, your contract might expire, you might ask to get released, or the agency could go bankrupt. If you do get dropped, it is not the end of the world. It does not mean you will not model anymore. It simply means your time with that representation is no longer in the best interest of the representation or you. I have been dropped from an agent and then went to work the next day and made money, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day because I had clients. And that wasn't going to change just because that agent didn't like me. And I've had agents that I wanted to get dropped from. So I got them to drop me, and then I still went on to work the next day, the next week, the next month. So it's not the end of the world. It's not an end to your career. And sometimes it's actually what you want because you don't want to be with an agent that doesn't believe in you, and you don't want to be in an agency where you're not working. They may just not have your clients. It's just not the right fit. It's not the end of the world. Also, if your contract is about to expire soon and you have decided you no longer want to work with your representation, you can end the contract by asking in writing, either email or a certified letter, to end the contract on the expiration date. You must do this a set amount of time before the ending date. Typically, it's 60 to 90 days. It will be written in your contract, so make sure you have a copy of that. And you would just write them and say, I would like to end my contract on the expiration date of blah, blah, blah. If you are going to leave your agency, I suggest step one, either in person or in email, make clear what you need and are not getting. Talk about your frustrations, but try and keep it clear and simple and not attacking. And ask for and be open to their ideas and suggestions on how to solve these issues. And be patient and allow a reasonable amount of time for adjustment. So if you're wanting different castings or different photo shoots or things like that, you want to give a reasonable amount of time for them to make the adjustments they may have agreed to, rather than just like the next day being like, okay, I'm dropping you now. Like give some time, follow up with them a few weeks later, a few months later, depending on the issue and how it's getting fixed. That is a case by case basis. And step two, if you are still unhappy, you want to, again, either in person or in email, sincerely thank them for their time and efforts. Make clear that you are looking to end your contract and do not attack or blame them. If they were mean to you, I once had an agent who called me fat and then I left them. I chose not to say anything. But if you want to stand up for yourself and be like, I think it's wrong that you call models fat, so that's why I'm leaving you, you could say that. That's totally your prerogative and you can do what you want. But I just like to not even give them a reason because I don't want to have an argument and I'm not trying to start a conversation. I'm already done with the conversation. So I tend to not add those extra details, but that's going to be a case by case basis, of course. Some red flags to look out for with agencies. If they avoid meetings or phone calls, if your agent seems to be the busiest person in the universe and it is not Fashion Week or the week before Fashion Week or the week after Fashion Week, then they might be avoiding you because they're about to drop you and they want to avoid the conversation. I don't know why they do it rather than just dropping you. It's just some of them are humans and they get nervous. Long turn around on your account. So if they don't know your finances and they aren't keeping track of it, they're probably hiding things. So I'm a lot of agents do take a while to get you your money, but I'm talking about like if you ask for a copy of your model account and they're taking a week or something to give it to you. It should already be done. It should be an Excel sheet that is constantly being updated or a program or an app that they have. They should have an accountant. So that should be updated at least to like the last couple days. Maybe they have a few more things to add, but it should already exist. So they shouldn't take a long time to send that to you if you request it. If they do, they might not be keeping track of their finances, and that's sketchy. And they could be hiding things or about to go bankrupt. If they're mean, if they're mean to you, just simply leave them. It's not okay that these agents think that they can get away with calling you fat and putting you down and telling you you're ugly and saying mean things to you just because they hold the power over your career in this moment. And unfortunately, there are agents and agencies who act like this and allow this behavior. And sometimes it goes on for years. So you don't want to stick around to somebody who's going to abuse you like that. It's not okay in any way, shape, or form. And so you want to leave. But of course, I understand some girls stay because they would rather work and they're afraid that they might not get another agent, or that if they do, that new agent is also going to be mean. But they're not all mean. There are plenty of agencies out there who are nice and don't treat you like crap and don't call you fat. So I do suggest leaving if they're mean to you. Lots of large fees and classes. If they are trying to sell you things, their main business may not be modeling. Now, every major agency does have classes and fees. You are going to pay for your cards and your webs and your books and all of those things. And sometimes they're going to ask you to take a runway class or maybe a commercial acting class, but they shouldn't be trying to say like you have to take these classes to get signed or things like that. That's where it starts to get into red flag territory. There is a case by case basis. If you just started modeling yesterday, you don't know what you're doing, you're 16 years old, they may tell you to take a runway class. It should be like $50 to $100 at max. Anything above that is ridiculous. So just case by case basis, look out for things. And if you have any questions, I'm always here to answer as much as I can. That is everything you need to know right now for agency etiquette. If you have any questions or feel I missed something, please comment below. I would love to hear if it's working for you. Please share with me an email, or if you feel comfortable sharing in public on social media, use the hashtag Modelesque Mindset. And as always, if you want to book a virtual one-on-one, the link is provided.